Real life.
Woo! Man, this is going to be a good one. All right, I'm good. I'm ready to go. What's going on, good people? It's your man Cam, a.k.a. Coolest Kid Out. You are tuned into of the Handcrafted podcast. If this is your first time joining, do me a favor, click subscribe. If this is your third, second, maybe even fifth time coming back to listen to us, welcome back. For those of you not in the know, Handcrafted is a podcast series which is dedicated to executives, creatives, tastemakers, and our focus is on the process and how they built their craft, hence the name Handcrafted. And today we have, I don't even know if special guest is even an apropos title for my guy, a brother of mine, someone that I've gotten to know really well in the past couple of years. Resume speaks for itself. It's starting to speak a little louder. Designer extraordinaire. Yes. Like we said pre-production. We're not going to run off all the titles. It's too many to name right now. We want to keep it clear cut on you, the man, my brother Chaz A. Jordan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Man, what a run! What a run you've been on.
Just getting started.
Yeah, 2020 has been quite the year for you, and we're gonna talk about it all. Everything that you've been up to, everything that's gotten you to where you are. But where we like to start is at the age of 7 for all of our guests. We ask them to go back. You're 7 years old. You're in Chicago, I'm assuming at this time.
It's 96.
It's 1996. You're 7 years old. Wow, 1996.
I know. Exactly.
So
you already know.
So it's popping in Chicago.
It was going down. Wait, who died in 96?
Who didn't?
Was that Biggie or Pac?
Pac was first. So Pac was 96.
Okay.
Pac was 96. Biggie was 97.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was real. It was real when I was 7.
So we established where you are. Mm-hmm. You're in Chicago. What are you seeing? What's the world like around you? What's your everyday environment? Because the reason we say age 7 is because at that point you kind of have a sense of what's happening in the world, mm-hmm. right? Like you have your friends. You have if you're in church, you got a relationship with the deacons, mm-hmm. people in the church.
My grandpa was actually a deacon.
Yeah, so you kind of know what the world is at the age of 7. So take me back and just paint a picture for me. What's that like for you at age 7?
Age 7. I mean, it's hard to remember specifically, so I can give you like plus or minus a year.
Yeah, give me the broad.
So,
it could be 8 or 9 too.
Yeah, really. All right, so that was grade school.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I was living with my aunts and uncles in Chicago.
Okay.
Maywood, to be exact. Okay. So if you know about Chicago, I don't need to go beyond that.
I know a little about Chicago.
So during those times, like that was the hot spot for Chicago in terms of where a lot of the violence and murders were
mm-hmm.
happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I was living with my aunts and uncles in a 2-story house.
Mm-hmm.
There were 2 girls, 2 boys. They were in high school.
Okay.
Proviso East. So people familiar with Chicago, as soon as I say that, they already know the situation. I can stop there and they know exactly what my childhood was like.
No need to explain it further.
So, we were literally living upstairs in the attic. Mm-hmm. Like my aunt, this is typical shit. My aunt was doing hair.
Yep.
My other aunt, her sister was I think she was captain of the cheerleading squad.
Yep.
Uncle was on the basketball team. They selling dope out of upstairs.
Right.
I'm watching them sell dopes. I'm watching them like pull out the fucking Berettas.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I look back, like chrome Berettas with the fucking leather holsters, and these motherfuckers in high school. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, now that I look back in retrospect, I'm like, dog, this is how y'all were getting down in high school. So that was pretty much life. It was like, I get up, get myself ready,
right.
Walk to school. I don't even think we had a bus.
Really?
The school was close enough where I could walk.
Okay.
And then my mom's was actually a teacher's assistant.
Okay.
My mom had me when she was 19, so she was, 20?
So she's 26, 27?
Yeah, around that. So went to Garfield in Maywood. Okay. So saw a lot of shit go down there. That was parents coming to the classroom, locking the door, the kids watching through the glass window, the fucking parent and the teacher go at it. Teachers leaving out on stretchers, neck braces, whole situation.
This sounds like a movie, by the way.
Well, I mean, I don't know how deep you want to get, but
we got time. But I'm just saying for everybody out there, like, this is your real childhood.
Yeah, my mom had.
But it sounds like a television show.
My mom has 20 plus siblings, 24, 25. Yeah, when I was living there, that was when I got in my first shootout. Since we gonna get real on you, fam, I'll just let.
Yeah, we're good. Listen, let it fly.
I know you're not gonna do anything, wrong with this info.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah,
we got edit points.
That was like shootout in the back of cars with my aunt's boyfriend, picking him up from school, driving through Maywood in the shootout, no cops whatsoever, having to hop out and then go hide, then go to our grandpa's house and hide off while they take them, away from us. Yeah. Crazy shit.
So you're living this life.
Monday through Friday, though. Saturday, Sunday, it was another story. Church on Sunday, because I went back with my grandma and my grandpa. You already know. So Grams was hip. So Grams was like super bougie. She still is to this day. She's taking me downtown. We're on Oak Street. We're going to all the steakhouses, fucking fur coats, living the life. My grandma had a convertible Plymouth with the car phone. So,
that's
I'm
premium
riding,
fly shit for y'all.
Dialing on the car phone.
For those of y'all that y'all wasn't around for the car phone era, that was premium fly.
Facts.
Before everybody had a cell phone. That was premium fly.
So that was that. And then on Sunday, I was with my grandpa in church because he was a deacon at Broadview Baptist, which is in Broadview, right next to Maywood. But I would get in trouble if I fell asleep. But I had to sit in the front fucking pew because it's my grandpa. So I'm like, yo, I just lived a full life Monday through Friday. And how do you expect me to stay up in church for this sermon that is boring as shit? I'm like, I love you because you my grandpa.
Right.
But I hear you doing this sermon every night.
Right.
In the kitchen on the, remember the old tape recorders?
Yep.
He had the yellow notepad. And he would write his notes in his sermon while he would record on that big ass brown fake laminate wood grain tape recorder. Yeah. So yeah, that was my life for a minute, like grade school, and then we started to move around.
Gotcha. So as you're living and you're going through all this, what outside of surviving, what are your interests? Like, what do you like? Like, what are you into? Like, what's getting most of your attention?
It's crazy because when people say, what did you want to be when you were a kid? I didn't have anything.
Nothing.
You
didn't want to be...
I truly try to go back and remember.
You didn't want to be a ball player?
Nothing.
You didn't want to be a lawyer?
Nah. Because you got to think, what I was looking at.
Yeah.
It was like...
And you didn't want to be that either?
I didn't need to.
Yeah.
Because, my grandpops was that guy.
Right.
So... we were chilling.
Right.
So it was never like I got to do this for my survival. It was, when we going to North Riverside this week so I can go get those new J's.
Right.
And every week we in North Riverside, 2 pair of J's. Like, that was life. So it wasn't like a struggle.
Right.
In terms of, like, we didn't have money.
Right.
But we lived where we lived.
Right.
It was just like hood rich.
Right.
Money in the shoebox type situation.
Right.
So I never really had like I want to be this because I think I had a really great childhood and I was very present. Like I didn't have to worry about the next day, so to speak. It was every day I was in that day.
Gotcha.
And then the next day, you just do that shit all over again and figure it out.
Yeah.
So, I liked to draw when I was a kid.
Okay.
But
what were you drawing? Were you drawing images,
I could look at something and freehand it.
Okay.
Just by looking.
Okay.
So I would do that, but it wasn't like I knew artists made bread or like shit like that. I liked to draw, and it was a nigga on TV with the afro,
right.
Still paints today, and I'm just like trying to buy those books off the infomercial. Play all sports, but it wasn't like
wasn't drawing you.
This is your profession.
Yeah.
I was good.
Yeah.
Because my grandpa was coach. He was actually coach of the year in basketball. So I would go train with the high school kids.
Okay.
And then with the college kids when I was like in grade school. So that's how I learned how to play.
Wow.
But it was never like, this is going to be my profession.
Gotcha.
And I knew so many people in so many different worlds. Like my aunt is the assistant attorney general for Chicago. My uncle is the chief of state police, ran the gang task force unit. So I saw both sides.
Right.
It's just like, I didn't feel like I needed to choose.
Yeah. So, yeah, you lived the life, dog. Like I'm
Wait, let me tell you how crazy this shit is. So, yo, my uncle, you already know who it is. I love you. I'm not gonna say your name. But this fool would get arrested, and then my uncle, who was the chief of the police, and ran the gang and drug task force, would have to go get this nigga out of jail. Out of jail. But it was never like on some beef. It was just like, dog.
I was about to say, so like, how was, and this is an off the beat question, how was Thanksgiving at your house?
It depends on whose house. Because you know we got to make 2 stops.
Right.
We got to go to the hood.
Right.
And then we got to go to the burbs.
Right. So you ended in the burbs.
I preferred the burbs.
Yeah.
It just felt like a holiday. Niggas didn't feel cheated or shorted on those meals, okay? Yeah. We pull up, it's a proper turkey.
3 pans of mac and cheese.
Exactly. Dressing, I was responsible for the cranberry sauce because that was the only shit I could afford.
Yeah.
So I would go and just like get a gang of cranberry sauce and then just bring that. But holidays, never missed a beat. Christmas was a big one up until like literally like 4 or 5 years ago.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Gotcha. And then what type of student were you while you were in school?
Straight A's, honor roll, every school. I went to like 5 different schools growing up, 5 or 6.
Were you like a study hard, work hard person, or was it just did everything kind of come natural to you? Retention?
Okay. I never studied.
Never?
No.
Man.
I didn't study until I got to college.
Same.
College slapped me in the face. And it was like, oh, you think you about to not study?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
I didn't study till college either, and I popped up first semester with a .97.
Oh, dog.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is real.
Why did they not send you home?
I too have family.
There you go. You got to make those calls sometimes.
But no, because it was like for me, same like I had a photographic memory. Like I could hear something a couple times and it's there. Like I didn't necessarily. I always say I was great at math, but I think I just memorized every equation and everything. So I was always good. And then when I got to college, and I actually had to like break things down and analyze things and summarize things. Like it was just a little too much for me, and I just stopped going to class. So I was like, I'm just going to enjoy the good side of college, and I enjoyed it a little too much. But yeah, no, I asked those things because so much of that goes into who you are today, right? Like,
okay, so I'll go back.
Okay.
Another reason why I made it my business to get good grades. Grams would give me $25 for every A.
There it is.
I was like, why can they not give me more fucking classes?
Yeah.
So I get more money. It was like, and this goes into how I got the entrepreneurial bug, but it was $25 for every A. Then my aunt's husband would give me $20 for every answer I got right from after watching the Tom Brokaw nightly news.
Okay.
I would have to watch it, take notes, and he would quiz me, random.
And you would get $20 for each correct answer.
For every correct answer. So that was the hustle.
Wow.
And then I cut grass. I would do like as many houses on the block. Now, mind you, city blocks, motherfucking, there's 100 houses on the block. I'm trying to cut as many of those houses, and then I gotta compete with my homies. Yeah. So it's like, all right, you get this half, I'm gonna get this.
I was gonna say, did y'all come together and join forces, and you break up the pie, or you just?
I didn't have the CEO spirit that I have today to basically create the cartel of grass cutting back then. Yeah, if I would have, man, we could have made bankroll.
You'd still be up today off that.
Facts. I would legit probably still be cutting grass. So it's probably good I didn't. For real. Yeah,
that's amazing, man. And like I was saying, like all of that stuff, it goes into who you are, and you see, like I sometimes find myself telling stories about my childhood, and then seeing how it relates to exactly how I am today. Like I started hustling by helping my sister sell Girl Scout cookies. You know, so I was
Thin
like,
Mints all day.
yeah, I'm sitting there with Thin Mints, Samoans. Like I don't know who ate Samoans, but we were going to the crib, and I'm making people up their sales. They're like, yeah, let me get 2 boxes. I was like, nah, you need 5. And then, you know, once I get the sheet, my sisters killed it.
Yeah.
Now I got to go collect the money, and I'm just like, I love this. Like this is like, I just love to hustle, you know, and you know, you get that in you from a young age. So you're doing all these things. You're growing up in what feels like almost a lifestyle out of a movie, right? From every aspect of your life, right? Something that somebody would write a book about.
And believe me, people have asked
To write a book?
Yes.
You gotta wait. You gotta wait.
I didn't
man.
feel like I was to a point in my life to where I could stop it on a climax. Back then, I had shit, but it was like other people have like achieved a degree of that.
Right.
I needed that. Now show me somebody that did this.
Yeah.
And then when I got it, it was just like,
there's still more to do.
You gotta go.
Yeah.
So and now I think like when the time comes, I'll actually do it, but I'll still want to, in my mind, stop it and do like a 2-parter.
Okay.
So you do, give me to age 30.
Yep.
We'll call that 1 block.
Yep.
And then the next block. Because like the shit that I've done by the time I was 30.
It's a book in itself.
That's Lord of the Rings style trilogy.
Yeah, I was
9
say,
hours.
The shit we discussed before we turned the cameras on was enough to write a life story on, which is amazing. And for you, like I said, I'm gonna say it over and over. You've done so much, right? But for people watching this, like we're not, as much as we appreciate the accomplishments, right? We want to talk more about the journey and the process for you. So like when did you like wake up and say, all right, I want to be a designer? Or did you wake up and say, I want to be a designer?
Nah. I fucking started because I wanted a presidential Rolex.
So you had a goal.
I had gold goals.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was like, all right, I want this watch. If I get straight A's, which I did get in high school, I graduated 4.0. I'm like, this is only 7 A's.
Yeah.
$25.
Yeah.
We short.
Yeah.
By a lot. 9,000 and some change.
Yeah.
Back then, I think, maybe a little bit more. So
Yeah, because they were going for like 11, 12.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, okay, what can I do to make that bread, fast bread? Obviously, I have options.
Right.
But it's like,
But you didn't want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm too cool to do that.
Right.
In retrospect, if I would have done it, fuck.
Yeah.
I could have probably made some power moves in real life. Like, with the way my mind works.
Yeah.
I tell people often, the clothing game, I think, is the closest to the illegal drug, legal drug game.
How so?
In terms of raw costs, markup.
Got it.
We're making teas. Full disclaimer. We're making teas $6.
Yep.
It's the same tea you go in the store and spend $300 to $600 on.
Right.
We pay $6. This is why when people say, "Oh, you can't make money in clothing," I say, "No, you're just not doing it right."
Just not making the right clothing. Yeah.
And I hate that misconception because I hear people who are successful who will go and say, "You can't make money selling clothes," and that is like the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Right.
Because if you just take me and my fucking peers,
Right.
and look what we've done in the past 4 to 5 years,
Right.
how we've completely fucking flipped the industry upside
You guys have
down.
changed the game.
New Guards Group sold for 640 something million euros, I think. And clothing isn't making money.
Right.
Where? Like I know what I've done by myself.
Right.
With one product.
Right.
just one SKU. So it's like, nah, it's just something in your equation is off. So it was, I wanted that Rolex. I thought I was going to go work at Target.
With a Rolex on.
I had to go to Target to get the money to buy the Rolex. Like I don't know how my mind was processing any of this shit. I was like, look, I was gonna go to Target, and in my mind, I was gonna work the midnight shift.
Got you.
I was gonna box,
and
then go to class.
Okay.
But I had to go to the suburbs to go to high school.
Got it.
Because they wouldn't allow me to go to the high school by where I lived.
Got you.
So that's like an hour bus ride plus every morning. So I don't know how in the hell I thought I was gonna go work at Target making minimum wage.
Yeah.
And then Target declined me. Sent me a postcard.
Word.
And I got that postcard. I remember out of the fucking mailbox.
Did it have your name on it in the?
It was probably a sticker or some shit. So
you didn't get the job.
I didn't look.
Sorry, you didn't get the job.
My friends joke to this day and say I should do a Target capsule collection.
Absolutely.
I might low key just to prove a point.
Absolutely.
So.
And go get another Rolex.
A couple of Rolex. I would go and I wish I could remember which Target I went to. I'd buy a Rolex and go give it to the motherfucker that manages that Target. And be like, you don't know what you did, and you probably didn't even do it.
You inspired me, though.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So they sent me the letter, and it was like, all right, basically, like, you're overqualified for this. So I was like, okay, funny. I got to be the smartest one out of the group of my friends. No diss to all of y'all. So, they all have jobs.
Yep.
I don't have a job.
Yep.
This doesn't add up. So I was like, all right, fuck the man. I will never work a corporate job. And I started an e-commerce business a couple weeks later, which was essentially like a Farfetch before Farfetch.
Wow.
This is like 2000. This is when I was like 15.
So you were way ahead of your time.
Yeah, I just knew that the clothes that I wanted, you couldn't buy locally, like Vape and shit like that.
Yeah.
They didn't sell it, except in New York. But I don't even know what year the New York store came.
I think that was like 2006, maybe 2007 was the Vape store in New York.
When I was 15, that's what?
So you're 7 in 96, so you're 15, it's 2004?
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
So I would collect all of the information, where these companies were, and just put it on the site. So you could come to the site, you had a direct. This is just me collecting information off the internet. You can come, find it, place your order over the phone, or if they had a website or whatever. Or you could pay a fee for us to basically buy the stuff for you. So I was like, bet. So I found a spot that had the J's and all this other shit. And at first, I don't even think they were real J's.
Word.
And when I tell you I was making like, what's statute of limitation on that shit? But I was probably making.
We talk about statute of limitations a lot on this show.
That means you got some real ones, dog.
Yeah. For the first 3 episodes.
So I fuck with you just because of that. We're gonna keep it going then in that sense and direction.
Yeah.
But I was probably doing like 500 plus a day.
Easy.
Like good week. So at the age of 15.
So in a good week at the age of 15, you're making $3,000 to $4,000 a week.
Yeah. Probably around that.
Yeah.
So I just took the money, and then it was just like, all right, I buy whatever I needed or cop some more shit and then keep it moving. So that's what I did all the way till I got to college. That's how I would buy a lot of the shit I had, and nobody knew where I got my money from.
Yeah.
It was a speculation.
Yeah.
So when I got to college, I was like, all right, cool. My grandma, I think, or my godmom, somebody's like, you need to get a fucking real job. You need to get something on paper that says you have skills.
Right.
And I'm like, but I have skills.
Yeah.
On this computer.
Yeah.
Nah, you need real skills. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. So that's when I I stopped doing the clothing thing, and everybody got mad because I had all these customers, and they were like, "Dog, like, you are our plug." Like, well, family says otherwise.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, okay, and I started working as like an IT coordinator for the campus, but it's just
Okay.
like some bullshit where they give you a stipend, you can't make more than $1,500.
So you're pissed.
I'm fucking heated. $1,500 in college.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do with that? That's 2 pairs of A-Life sneakers and a fucking tee to match.
Yeah.
And
So,
some money to take a girl out.
College, so you're going
Downtown Chicago? No, that's one date.
Yeah, it's one date. I was gonna say, where are you taking them? Cheesecake
Grand
Factory?
Lux, dog. Grand Lux on Michigan Avenue was my spot.
Are you getting the steak butterfly, the lollipop?
You know what? I used to get the cedar plank salmon.
Okay.
Every rip, I would make sure they knew me at this point.
Yeah.
There's a corner room that is like a semicircle that overlooks Michigan Avenue, and that was like the room.
Yep.
Every time, you already know where I want.
You know me. Put me right there.
Right there. Got him every time. So yeah, that was my.
Yeah,
move.
this is so Chicago of you
It
too.
is.
Like,
It really is.
Big show off a lot.
It really is.
And that, yeah, I think for you, well, for me, with hearing all these stories, right, I'm just hearing how you came to be more of Chaz, right? And how you're starting to even realize how you want to live your life, you know, as you get older. And so you go to college.
Yes.
How long do you stay?
I did 5 years because I did a
Shout out to the super seniors. I'm one as well.
I did a major change.
Okay. I don't have that excuse.
I think it was 2 or 3 times on the major change.
Okay.
When I originally went to college, I only applied to 2 colleges. That was U of I, Urbana, and then UIC.
Okay.
So when I applied for civil or structural engineering.
Okay.
Got in. I think Urbana at the time was like number 2 in the country or something like that for that program. Went down there, my aunt, it was her fucking school, so she was an alum, so she was pushing, like really pushing. She drove me the whole deal, and I fucking disappointed her, and she was so mad. We didn't even talk the ride home back. I was just like, man, it smell like horses, and it's a farm behind the school. How are y'all living?
Right.
It's like, nah, I can't do it. Gotta go back to Chicago.
Yeah.
So I ended up going as an architect. Because I was really, again, going back to the drawing.
Yep.
And I just always had a passion. Like, I would play The Sims and shit and create, like, what was the theme park joint?
Shit.
Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yes.
So you create the theme park, you got to put the sewage, the plumbing, like, make sure that shit runs.
Put the city together,
Right.
basically, yeah.
So I was very much in that mindset.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, all right, cool, I'm going to go for architecture. They're going to teach me how to, like, properly build a house or a hotel. And I'm good. So I went for that, and it was the time during the damn Olympics in China.
So that was 08.
So the fucking professors are all like, yo, take this raindrop and make it, livable.
Yeah.
Functioning space.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to do that?
Right.
I came here to build hotels and houses. You
Yeah.
want me to take a stocking? We had this one project. Oh, my God, I will. Architecture would take us 9 hours to do one project, and we have 6 other classes. We had to take, I think it was balsa wood, break them, take a stocking, put the wood in the stocking, open it up like an accordion, and whatever that structure was, you had to use that as your fucking structure. You had to hand sketch. I swear to God, I wish
Whatever
I could
that
find
shit came to be.
I had to draw each of the individual squares in the stocking. Like, that probably took hours in itself with a ruler just to do that. So I was like, yo. And then the teacher and I just kept butting heads. I was like, yo, fuck this dude. Like, I'm crushing these courses, and you still not giving me an A. Like,
Right.
this is not right. So one of my professors, shout out to Mr. Ooh, fuck, I feel so bad. Because this is literally this guy. I can see his face.
Just say the first letter. You don't even got to do the full name. Is it Mr. O, Mr. M?
Nah, he had the mustache.
Handlebar?
You know who you are. Yes. Oh, man. He was the teacher. He was the head professor for information and decision science.
Okay.
I really need to find this guy.
So we're going to look him up after this.
He came to me and was like, yo, you are killing it in my class.
Mm-hmm.
You should strongly consider changing your major.
Hmm.
So I was like, word, because this other shit is for the birds.
Right.
So I was like, all right, bet. I went, changed over. Okay, I'm probably not supposed to say this, but he probably retired. He was like, yo, if you get an A on this exam, you don't have to take your exams for the rest of the semester.
Wow.
Ace that shit, over 100% on like the initial 2 to 3.
And what class is this?
Information and decision
Information
science.
and decision science. Okay.
Yeah. So it's tech and management.
Okay.
Now, my grandpa had like a computer built for me when I was like a kid, like when computers first came out. Mm-hmm. So I was used to computers and floppy disk games and shit. Like where in the world is Carmen Sandiego days? So it was just natural. I didn't have to study. I knew what a router was. I knew how to set up a fucking network. I knew all of this. And it's like, yo, this is like the hard stuff?
Yeah.
Cool. Give me that. And then that's when I took that and kind of ran with that.
So you're in school. You're doing all of this very information-packed, above the shoulders, like type of work, right? For those of you who aren't familiar with architecture, it's a lot of numbers. It's a lot of equations, it's a lot of formulas. Geometry. I studied architectural engineering for 2 years and said fuck my life. I don't even want to come back to school.
Yeah.
So you're doing these things, right? And school happens. Are you out of school still with the passion of, I want to design hotels, I want to design houses?
So no, because when I switched to information and decision science, the way that it got me was he said, this is the highest paying concentration in the College of Business.
Okay.
My mind goes,
money, Rolex.
Ding. We passed Rolex.
Yeah,
I bought that Rolex.
had it. You had it.
I was like, let's go to where the money is.
Yeah.
So it was more so doing that, but that's around the time that I linked up with the crew.
Got it.
So I was actually approached by this footwear company before, which I don't even remember how they contacted me. And it was a pretty decent sized footwear company, one of the initial like founding guys at Nike.
What year is this?
This is college, so between 07 and probably 2010, 11.
Okay.
So they approached me and they were like, yo, we really like what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. And mind you, I'd never been a creative director for a company. Like,
did you know what a creative director did or was?
Fucking creative direct.
How hard could that direct
be?
Some shit, right?
I was like, shit, if you coming to me because of how I look,
yeah,
chances are I could probably do it.
Yeah.
So I went on and started designing shoes. Like they had an orthopedic segment. They had a bespoke segment, like $5,000 golf shoes, like this level of crazy. And I was like, they really wanted to get it revamped and get it into the market, like for the youth. So I was like, bet. Like, I could do whatever I want.
Right.
They're like, yeah. I'm like, you going to pay me to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah. You going to give me shoes that I make? Yeah. No restrictions. Nah.
Dream gig.
This is my first, like, out of the gate.
This is your first job.
Not job, because I didn't have to go into an office, but, like, somebody paying me for my creativity.
Yeah.
Because when I told my fam I wanted to make clothes, they thought I was about to be screen printing shit in the back of a print shop. Granted, my first release was, and I pray to God nobody finds those photos, but it was screen printed T-shirts and sweatshirts. Now, mind you, this is Lupe, early Kanye days.
Gotcha.
So it's like a lot of colorful text.
Yep.
It was clean, though. I've never been, like, bold and not, like, crazy shit.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So Did that, and then it was okay, but then it was just like, yo, I don't like how this is shaping up.
What was wrong with it?
Management.
Okay.
I didn't really like. I could start to feel like exploited a bit, and I'm just like, I have the tendency to, if I feel like I'm losing a grip on the creative, or doing this how I say it needs to be done,
Yep.
I'm fucking out.
Yep.
Because it's like I'm not gonna sit here and waste my life trying to get you to understand why I am who I am, or
Right.
why I can do the things that I can do.
Right.
Because some shit you just can't quantify
Yep.
or define.
Yep.
Just like I know when to go like that, and I know when to pull off. That's it. If you could do it, you do it.
Right.
So we separated, and then that's I think around the time when I linked up. I would just go to RSVP.
Gotcha.
But I was always St. Alfred's, Leaders,
Yep.
like the whole crew. And then I started interning at Leaders, actually, with Joe. Shout out to Joe.
Yep.
Vic, Terrell, Fat Tiger, all those
Yeah.
guys. And then it was just like I graduated from Leaders to RSVP. So I went in one day. I was probably shopping or something. I don't remember. But Virgil was there. And I was like, who is this nigga?
Yeah.
I'd seen him, and I
Yeah.
was like, I had an idea, but we started talking and hit it off. And then he was like, yo, what are you doing? Like, we're about to have this grand opening. It was like super low key. Nobody knew. Undisclosed location. He was like, yo, you want to come? I was like, I don't think I'm old enough.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, it's okay. We'll get your wristbands.
Yeah.
Like, again, statute of limitation.
Yeah. We're good. We're good.
So,
we're good.
He's like, yo, he told somebody, he's like, give him some wristbands. So he gave me like 6-9 wristbands. So I'm like, fuck, big man on campus now. So I go back. I'm going through the phone like, shit.
Are you using it as your golden ticket?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I've been going through this campus for 2-3 years. Who did I need that shot
Right.
with? So I was like, okay, cool. Pulled up. It's legendary now. You can find this shit online. But Kid Cudi, Mr. Hudson, Big Sean, like everybody.
Right.
It was the launch.
Right.
So did all of that, and now I'm just like, mind you, I'm in college. I gotta go to school with fucking. I'm not gonna say that because I don't like. It's cancel culture is real. Kevin Hart got me scared as shit. So.
As he should.
I have to go to school with my fellow classmates, right, the next day, and I'm just like, I gotta sit in here.
Yeah. Life is different.
It's very different.
Life is different.
I mean, mind you, it was different before.
Right.
Like, I was rocking fucking Balenciaga arenas,
right.
and I wasn't a celebrity
Right.
since I was young, like when they dropped. So that's how it came to be with the spot at RSVP. They were like, yo, like, this nigga's always fly, but we don't know what he does.
Right.
And it was just like Easy O, Travis's boy. He's just like, yo, you want to work?
Yeah.
And I was like, let's do it.
Yeah. So you guys have at this point in Chicago, it's like it's a dream team, if you will, right? Or just like different cats from different parts of Chicago, super talented.
Yep.
Tastemakers, like taste
Lupe
level.
was Food and Liquor dropped.
Yeah.
He was past Pink Polo then. He was Graduation.
Yep. So
Graduation into Watch the Throne.
So this is almost pushing into the Pyrex era. Pyrex RSVP. Don C, the Buck 50, the Buck 50s.
When
as
I
they're
tell
called
you
in
that was
Chicago.
the biggest shit show.
Yeah.
Managing or just trying to manage the inventory on those fucking hats.
Yeah.
Like, most people don't give that man enough credit. When I tell you, hats were moving like
I know they
dope
were
in the 80s.
I know they were moving crazy there because of how they were moving in New York. Because the way like it popped off, I think everybody saw it was either like the photo of Ye with the one on and the photo of Hove. And all of a sudden they just start popping up everywhere. And the thing, like, the way something's really popping is if you start seeing bootlegs of it. And as quick as we saw the real Buck 50s, right? So they're starting to be carried in Atrium, all these different stores in New York. You start seeing just like knockoffs everywhere, like literally the next week. And I'm just like, oh, so I I consider myself up on things, right? Like I don't think I'm the first to things, but I think I know some good shit when I see it. So I was like, oh, let me go get one of these hats, and I go to buy it, and I'm like, wait, niggas are paying what for these hats?
This price.
And not blinking.
No.
And I was like, oh.
When I tell you, I've seen people come in. Now, mind you, it's the block.
Yep.
I'm talking 15 plus hats at a time.
So
on the regular.
So over 8 racks.
Cash money.
Hats.
Cash money. And then it's just like every day. We couldn't even put the hats on the site because it just didn't make sense.
Right.
And I was like, what the fuck?
So you're at the epicenter of fashion culture, in my opinion, at this point in Chicago.
So crazy to look back
between
to be like in that moment.
You, Don, Virgil, like you said, Lupe's Camp, Ye, you got Joe, the Fat Tyke, all these dudes at the same time coming up. What did that feel like at that time? Like, did you know that you were in the midst of some incredible shit?
Because we all just fucking showed up every day.
Yeah.
It was like some days we didn't even want to show up.
Right.
But it's like, gotta go in today. Because again, it's fucking Chicago.
Right.
When it's cold, it's cold.
Right.
It's cold.
Right. It's
like
lake effect cold.
You don't want to get on the bus
right.
or get on the train to go to Wicker Park to go to work
right.
when it's dark at 5 o'clock
right.
and it's snow and ice on the ground.
Right.
Like that's another level of determination.
Right.
So, but it was like, yo, we don't know what's gonna happen today.
Yeah.
Because anything could happen today.
Yeah.
Not in the sense of like life or death.
Right.
But like you legit did not know what was gonna happen at work.
Right. And that's a crazy feeling, right?
It comes with the benefits. And our benefits were fucking benefits.
Yeah.
Like not on the pay side, but
yeah.
like, all right, we're doing this today. We're going here today.
Yeah.
So you didn't really think about it. You knew that it was cool in the city.
Yeah.
And again, like we were all independently good at something.
Right.
So it's just when we came together and then you got the head, being the head, it's just like, we just hold on.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
And just go for the ride.
Yeah.
You use your talents where you can use them.
Contribute where you can, of course, because, I mean, that's why you're there.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be the fucking person not pulling their weight.
Right.
You know what I mean? So...
Was there ever a time for you, not that you didn't feel like you were pulling your weight, but was there ever a time when you asked yourself, like, do I belong here? No. Am I supposed to be in this room? Did you never had one of those moments?
No.
You always were comfortable in
again,
the fact that...
Coming from my background with my family, it's just like, I didn't have to look to people for approval.
Right.
Because we were good in a whole different context.
So you already came with that self-assurance.
Yeah.
From here.
It's like wherever I go, we
yeah.
Or if I'm not good, you make a phone call.
Right.
On either side of the fence.
Right.
So that's just how I've carried myself through life. So it was never like like the conversation would usually, and they would do this to me all the time. They like crack jokes because I come in with like some fresh every day. And then they'd be like, oh, you got that. And it's just like, I'm going to go wear some forces or some shit. Pull up with some
wear some regular shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all love, but like that's the shit that, we would do.
Yeah. And so you're in almost like this, I'm going to call it the epicenter of fashion, but you're in almost kind of like this incubator for creation, right? And there's all this creativity happening. There's all this taste making happening. When for you did you're in this machine, right? Because it's a machine at this point. You're in this incubator of creativity, of taste making, of culture, right? Everybody who's anybody is coming to where you are. How are you building relationships at this point within that space?
Honestly, it's just like, yo.
Was that even a focus of yours, or were you just being you?
It wasn't about that because it's like.
Because that's what everybody talks about now. I need to build relationships. I need to build relationships.
Most people build relationships to get to the top.
Right.
When we're in it, where do we build relationships to?
Right.
At that point, you don't go up. You start to fucking
go across.
sideways.
Yep.
So by me starting with leaders, with the kids, and then working my way up, it was like I was a customer that would buy shit on a regular. But then I was also like, yo, like, I'll work here for free.
Right.
Like, I'll do whatever you need me to do.
Right.
So it wasn't on, like, some arrogant type.
Right.
And then that's just how I naturally, met everybody. And then everybody just fuck with me.
Yeah, and you navigate your way through. You're building these relationships. You're acquiring new skills. You're sharpening your tools, right? And now it's time for you to start doing your own thing. How does that look for you? Like, how does that start? What's your mindset? And then basically that. What's your mindset? How does that start for you?
So it was me and my boy at the time, Zach, who I think is still there in some capacity. And he ran the Tumblr account.
Okay.
So I would look at the Tumblr graphics and I'm like, yo, like, this shit is so impactful. We have to use that on something. And then obviously Virgil had the V with the chick. So it was like, that was very much in my mind in terms of applying these graphics to garments and just putting them out. Like, that was the first time that clicked. So I was like, yo, it was this one image of, like, these wolves. And I'm like, yo, we should, like, put this on something.
Yeah.
And then it was like, all right, cool, let's put it on a hoodie or a sweatshirt, crew neck. And then let's put zippers on the side. Because, again, it's that period.
Yeah.
Givenchy, like, we're rocking leather pants to work every day, leather kilts and shit. Like, in college. Like, it's nothing. So, it's like, okay, bet, we're going to do that. So we just got online and started Googling shit. Took the image, statute of limitation, just pulled that shit off Google, put it on the t-shirt. We had the local printer down the shop. Because mind you, like, in Wicker, every shop next door is something else.
Gotcha.
So you could buy a t-shirt from this spot, get it printed at this spot, fucking whatever else you needed.
Yeah.
So we got it, and we bought these zippers from, like, this industrial spot, and it was nickel. For people who make clothes that know better, you're not supposed to put nickel in contact with the skin because it irritates.
Got it. I was going to ask you that. But
yeah, it's something in the metal composition that causes an irritation, like on a cellular level.
Okay.
So we had zippers. Well, that's later, but had the zippers here, ran that shit. And then Don put me up on a seamstress that was on Oak Street because we all would shop at Barney's.
Right.
So we all had the same personal shopper. Her name was Maria. Shout out to Maria. Day one. I love that woman.
So she's probably a Chicago legend.
Yo, she's definitely a Chicago legend. And she saw, like, my whole career grow. Like, mom figure, almost. But she put me in contact with the seamstress, and we took the sweatshirts, printed them, had them add the zippers, and then just took photos in the back of the shop where we did product shots. And it was, like, very guerrilla, like, shit back then. Like, we didn't care. And then posted it on the Tumblr.
Went crazy.
That shit went bananas.
Went crazy.
It was the first night of the Watch the Throne concert, and Ye had came to the shop that day. And I gifted him one. He had the photos and all this other shit. I gifted one to Sean Mack. Shout out to DJ Sean Mack.
That's my guy,
my nigga,
Sean Mack.
from way back.
Sean Mack is a G.
I gifted one to, like, Sean, Virgil, Don, Ye, and it was like a few other people at the shop.
Okay.
Like, everybody had one. And the plan was we just all rocked them shits to the concert. Well, obviously not Ye, but
Yeah.
So Warrior took photos, black and white with the flash. You know the vibe.
Yeah.
Posted them shits on Tumblr literally while we at the concert. And then I think we charged like $250. This is they were like Hanes, right? All right, okay. Mind you, I have no background in making clothes.
None.
Myself nor Zach.
This is your first time making an item
We
of
were
clothing.
like, yo, this shit is dope. Take that shit offline. Give it to my man at the printer. Print that shit on there. Body zippers. Yo, do this. Taper that a little bit because it's too big. I don't like that. Give these sleeves a little bit tapered.
And that's it.
Put that shit up, $250. Shit sold out in like a week. But I'm talking
Units.
international. Like Japan, Paris. Spots I've been, but I didn't really know people out there like that, like I do now. But it's like, yo, what the fuck?
So what does that do to your mind? Like, what does that do to your psyche?
$250 sweatshirts outside of me and these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
We got something.
Because this is when the Rottweiler Givenchy crew neck came out.
I remember.
And I used to have to ask Don for his extras because when they used to sell out.
Yeah,
please tell me you have another one.
I could never, like when I could afford one, I couldn't get my hands on one. And I remember that being that era where, you know what I'm saying, like we talk about high fashion and kind of where it met, where I feel like you guys were on the forefront of that and like kind of, not saying bringing it to the hood, but making it look like something to the hood other than some weird shit. Like outside of like the dope boys and those in the know, like I feel like everyday dudes in the hood were now like, oh, that's fly, you know, where they didn't like necessarily know that before.
Before they were rocking jerseys. And
exactly.
Pellies and Aperex.
Yeah.
And, you know, shit like that.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, so then that's what happened. It went crazy, and then next thing you know, we're in the apartment, like packing hella packages and shipping the shit out. And then Guillermo actually did the first pop-up.
Okay.
I'd never been to LA, I don't think, at that time.
Okay.
He saw it, bought one. Alan Onya, I believe that's how you say it, Alan.
Yeah, Alan Onya.
My fault, Alan, if that's not how you say your last name, dog.
That's how you say it.
We go back. Alan O is what I call this nigga.
Yeah.
He was my first customer. Very first, like number one.
That's
then
crazy.
He did the post on Upscale way back. And then I had that. And then Guillermo bought for 424. Did the pop-up there. That's when Jerry came out. Like Jerry and I were rocking heavy back then.
Yeah.
Introduced those two. And then it was just like that. That's what started it. And then it was like, all right, well, let's see like what else we can make.
Right.
Zippers on fucking zip-up hoodies.
Yeah.
And this is the Balmain period.
Yep.
Side zips, that whole shit. And it's just like, okay, cool, peeping. We can do it. Let's try it, see what happens. So we're doing it, and the youth is just going crazy.
Eating it up.
Now we're just throwing numbers out there. At this point, I had taken it over fully.
Yeah.
Because Zach, I think he just wanted to do it, but it wasn't like...
It wasn't in him to continue it.
I don't think he wanted to do it. Because when I got in it, I was like...
This is it.
When I saw it clicked, I was like, oh, we can like do this, this. So then I just started doing crazy shit. Like leather jackets with full coyote pelts on it. Like just wild shit. Egyptian cotton t-shirt with sheer beaver sleeves. Like 200, 500. Then I made a t-shirt for 1,200 euros. When Ye was like $1,000 Lanvin t-shirt, no logo.
Yeah.
I was like, let's see if this is really possible.
And it is.
Had one of my homegirls at the time, she had a famous blog out of Montreal.
Okay.
Sew some pearls on the sleeves. Posted that shit up, $1,200. Woke up the next day, we had people with both of them in their carts. And it was to the point where she couldn't produce them fast enough because it was all by hand. So we just had to stop. And I was like, all right, this is what I'm doing.
So at what point in that time are you're throwing these things out, like out of your brain, right? Like out of your creativity, and things are just hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting. At some point, does it turn into, all right, I'm just doing this shit because I can, or were you still inspired in the stuff that you were putting out, or were you like, I'm gonna just keep trying stuff, like anything that I pull out of my brain will work? Were there kind of like
not
checks and balances in place where like you say you tried something and it bombed? Did you have any of those experiences, or was everything hidden?
Real life, not too many.
Not too many misses.
No, honestly. I mean, each piece I put out, at least one of them sold.
Yeah.
But you got to think at that time, there weren't really other brands out in that space,
Right.
which is why I think it was so successful. It was right place, right time.
Right.
To your point, Virgil had Pyrex. I was doing Al Quran, avant-garde,
Yep.
culture mixed with Rick Owens type vibe.
Right.
So there were no other players per se in that space.
Right.
So it was like any sale, you recouped your bread. So it was a win.
Yeah. So you're doing this, you like you said, you're doing this guerrilla style basically, right? And like it's you're hustling, you're making stuff, you're making product, you're moving product. You're a businessman at this point, right? And you then have,
I wanted to say Blue Magic so bad.
essentially that's what it was.
Yeah.
So like so you get that rush, right? Yeah. And but it's a business, and you're turning over product, and you start with a nominate. Did I say it right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of time in between.
How much? So take me in between.
Yeah.
How we get, because I want to get into an nominate, but how do we get there from
Because
guerrilla
I didn't
style?
start nominating until after I got back from Paris.
There's the Paris.
So you missed the
you don't even
whole
know that
chunk.
you lived in Paris.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So after I graduated college,
Yep.
I had I was like, all right, like, what am I gonna do? Because at this time I wasn't working at the shop anymore. So it's just like, all right, cool. You have this brand. The brand is chill. You're out of school. Like, what do you want to do? Originally, I wanted to move to LA.
Okay.
Shout out to Baywatch.
Okay.
Your boy saw Baywatch, and I was
Convincing
like, I need that in my life. So I thought I was coming to LA, real life.
The mood board has been Rolexes and Baywatch so far.
Yo, it was like paid in full American Gangster, Rolexes, and Baywatch.
Yeah.
I mean, shit.
That's a hell of a mood board.
It is. So,
I can't say that mine's isn't similar.
hey, look, man. CJ Parker, okay? Shout out to Pamela. So, after that, I was, I ended up, like, getting a job offer somehow. I can't remember. For CDW, which is like, at the time, they were like the largest private IT solutions firm in the U.S.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go see what this is. Turned out to be a fucking sales job. It was, in hindsight, it was a good thing. But I was like, yo, y'all want me to do what? Sell some technology. Okay, this is cool. Like, I could do that as tech. And then you want me to sell brands that people already know? So I don't even have to build a name for the product?
Yeah.
Count me in.
Yeah.
Then the motherfuckers was like, yeah, but you have to do it cold. I was like, what does that mean?
So you're cold calling.
You got to pick up a phone and call them. I don't know them. Like, no soft intro.
It's not a meeting. You're not
They don't
welcome
even
to
know
a
I'm
boardroom.
calling.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, that sucks.
Then they were like, but you can make this. Okay. Let me try it out. Then they messed up and gave us paid training for like 2 weeks. And it was a grip.
Shout out
like
to paid
per
training.
hour. So I'm like, so I go to the classroom and I get paid now?
Yeah. I'm
All
cool.
right, let's do it. So, I think I had just bought a brand new Benz too. Like 0 miles. I would go to the Mercedes dealership when I was in college just to develop relationships because I've always had the mentality like it's nothing that I can't pay for.
Right.
So I'm going to go in there. I'm going to talk to these people. I'm going to develop the relationship so that when I'm ready,
I can just go get it.
and it's not difficult.
Right.
I don't have to go through the normal bullshit. So
There's a lesson in that too.
I walked in. Yo, I'm ready. It's like, all right, cool, let's do this. I never bought a car a day in my life.
Yeah. First car, Benz.
Nah, first car my grandma got.
But this is the first car you bought.
Yeah.
Benz.
So I was like, all right, I'm ready. Let's do this. We fill out the paperwork. He like, you got a cosigner, all this shit. I'm like, nah, what's that? Like, well, you don't have credit. I'm like, oh, where you need credit? You don't just need the money? It's like, not unless you putting all of it down.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I ain't got all of it.
Yeah.
But I give you some on that.
Yeah.
So he's like, we really don't think you're going to be strong enough because you don't have credit. It's like, you need a cosigner. I'm like, who in my family will trust me enough?
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, they're traditional on that side. It's my grandma's side. All regular as jobs, secure. So I'm like, okay, no one's going to give a 20-something-year-old kid, 21, if I was 21, 20, 21, 22 maybe, like co-sign on this car. In retrospect, it was a really bad idea.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. But I'm like, I got the bread. Just sign on. Like, I'm paying for it.
Yeah. It ain't no worry you.
I convinced my grandma. She pulls up.
Soft spot.
Grandma, it's me. Signs on the dotted line. Brand new Benz. Triple black. Pull off the lot. I pull off at nighttime. So I got all the packages, the high beam shit. When I turn the steering wheel, the lights turn. Like, duh. I'm going back to like my grandma's house in the brand new Benz, which is probably not a good idea. You don't want to have the nicest car on the block.
Ever.
So I'm like, okay, we're going to go to my auntie's house instead. A little bit further in the suburbs. So did all of that, ended up working at the job. I'm like, all right, cool. Life's great. Wasn't paying rent. Probably should have been. Wasn't. I'm just like, this is cool.
Yeah.
Still didn't really have this is the plan. So one day at work, I just got pissed. And I was just like, yo, these people are so fucking rude. But it's like,
People you're calling.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're Joe Blow who sits in a back room in this, I had like Western Pennsylvania, in this small town of 5,000 people, and you have the nerve to feel like you're better than someone else.
Right.
So I don't even know how the conversation happened. But I was like, something along the lines of like, I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I have a business
Yeah.
that I actually make money.
Right.
So, you can take the call or not. And then the conversation developed into, well, what is your business? Gave my website. Mind you, this shit was super fire. Like, I'm in that mental space. So this site is like the fucking greatest thing since sliced bread. Super conceptual.
Yeah.
I got motherfuckers to this day say that was my best site ever. It was like dots and squares and like cryptic and all this other shit, but it was fire. So they go on the website and it's like, oh, wow. Like, this is extremely good. You know, it's not like somebody tell you they got a website back then and it's like, you know, some crazy bullshit.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, this is what I do. Like, I sell this stuff, give them the Tumblr. Now you can go and see, like, my life.
Right.
So then it immediately flipped because they then felt like they were talking to someone who, I hate to say the word famous, but famous.
Yeah.
So then it's just like, oh, that's all I needed? And then it became, they're calling me. What'd you do this weekend? Like, legit, like my life was a fucking TV show. So I'm like, all right, well, this is what I did. It wasn't that exciting this week, but last week I went to France. Then I came back and I got to talk to your ass.
Yeah.
So you trying to buy these computers or not?
Yeah.
So when I learned that, I just applied that to everyone.
Yeah.
The hardest people to talk to.
Yeah.
Then now I look back and I'm like, you motherfucker, you made $60,000 a week. I swear I wish I could pull up on your office. And it's just like, okay, cool. So I started breaking all these records. Like, one, they tell you you're not supposed to take off.
Right.
Like, do not use that vacation time.
Yeah.
You come in, you be the first one. You leave, you the last one.
Right.
I'm like, dog, post office closes at 5.
Right.
You say we're supposed to leave at 5, but then how am I supposed to ship my product?
Right.
So I'm going to leave at 4.
Yeah.
I'll just make sure my work is done, make sure I hit my numbers, and I just started crushing it. Like, because it was easy for me to sell product.
Right.
I'm used to selling shit that you don't need
Right.
at a price that you really don't want to pay.
Right.
Now you're telling me I got to sell product to you
That you need.
that you need
Right.
at a price that you're used to paying?
Right. It's easy. Once you crack that code and once you crack that communication barrier.
It was just the communication. The selling part is easy.
Yep.
So when all right, how many of these you need me to sell? Cool, I'll sell more than that. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting tickets to the baseball games, the basketball games, the football games, the steakhouses, bonuses. I think I was clocking like 11 a week.
Nice.
And I'm like not an intern, but like a junior.
You're a junior sales.
Yeah.
You're a junior sales rep.
Like I'm fresh out of training, still in my probation period. And I was like, yo, I gotta take a trip.
Yeah.
I had to go to London because I was supposed to meet with Selfridges. Like this is the shit I'm doing at 22 by myself.
Which is crazy.
While working in an office job downtown Chicago.
Yeah.
Hop on the plane by myself. So I go out there with my boy, shout out to Andy. And he worked at Selfridges at the time. So we did that whole situation, and then I was, this is when I didn't know any better, and I would stay at hotels next to the airport. And
yeah, you was 22.
For those who don't know, staying at an airport next to Heathrow is just like the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, it's legit cows.
Yeah, so you're not close to anything.
No.
You're about 40 minutes away from everything. Every time I wanted
to go to the city,
yeah,
I'm on the speed train 45 minutes every rip.
Yeah.
So I'm pissed. It's Thanksgiving. I will never forget this. And I'm thinking, all right, like this hotel, y'all gonna have food. It's Thanksgiving. I had to order fish and chips, which they had to go get from a pub. And when I tell you this was the nastiest food I have ever tasted on Thanksgiving, now I'm hot. So this dude that I knew turned out to be a total fucking flake. Worked at Colette. He's like, yo, come, you can stay with me. I'm going to introduce you to the whole crew, Sebastian, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, cool.
And this is Colette in London or in Paris?
In Paris.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, bet. Falls through. The day I'm supposed to go, he just goes. It was his MO, so I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm not even going to hold that against you. Then one of our mutual friends, a woman, she hit me on Facebook and was like, yo, like, it's okay. You can come stay with me. Like, I'll take off work. And I'm like, why in the fuck are you so nice?
Yeah.
Like,
is the Chicago and you not feeling like you're being set up?
100%. I'm like, okay, it's this fine-ass Parisian girl telling me I can come stay with her in her house. I've never met her. She's like, she'll take off work to show me around?
Yeah.
And this is on some, I was supposed to take a flight in a few hours.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, just come? Scratch my head a couple times. I was like, all right.
But you do it.
Try and see what happens. Hey, it was too many yeses. Like, I couldn't say no. Like, that's the game-winning shot, and you gotta make a layup. I'm like, all right, cool, let's take it. So I go, and man, when I tell you, changed my life. It was we got there, saw her in person. I was like, okay, but it wasn't. I didn't see her in that light. And then it was one of her other friends who was also, he was like a stylist at a big ass magazine. Mind you, we're just kids running around and like, this person works for Vogue, this person does this, but it's like we didn't understand the gravity of it because it was so normal. So I'm just absorbing all of this, and they're like, all right, we're gonna take you out. So I'm like, but I just got off the plane. Like normally I want to go to sleep.
Right.
Like, no, we're gonna go out. I'm talking Saint Laurent stores, Givenchy stores. This is the first time I've ever been to Paris. I had been to the south of France, to Saint-Tropez and Monaco before, but I'd never been to Paris. So I'm like, coming from niggas in Paris, Watch the Throne, that whole period, to now I am here, seeing all this, and at night, Paris at night is another level.
Insane.
So I was just like, they're taking me here, here, here. Uber wasn't invented. We hopping in and out of taxis. Or the metro. I'm like, what the fuck? Y'all take the train here safe?
Yeah.
Like, my mind is tripping. All this shit that I'm like, we should not be doing this. It's okay. So I'm like, okay, we do all this shit. We ended up at the Le Sacré-Cœur, which is the church in Montmartre. Like, all of this shit. And I'm just like, it was literally sensory overload. Mm-hmm. And then it's like we get in the house and it's like, okay, now we go to sleep. Mm-hmm. But it's only one bed. Mm. So I'm like, nigga, I just died and went to heaven. Yeah. So I'm like, yo, let's figure this out. Okay? I gotta be respectful. This woman opened her home to me.
Yep.
Just don't do shit.
Right.
Face the wall, touch the wall, don't move, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, all right, bet. So I get in the bed. Totally normal. I'd never been in the bed with a woman, with another person at all that I did not know. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, we just go to sleep. Yeah. So it's like, you go to sleep, you wake up the next day. Where would you like to eat breakfast? Mind you, this is my first day. So now it's like, you see that city with fresh eyes.
Yeah.
We go to all these fancy, she wants to show me around, show me the good life. Because keep in mind, she knows what my background is.
Right.
And she was very hip. She is, like, every Celine bag, every, like, but on the most humble tip. Like, hands down the freshest woman that I know without effort to date.
Who is this legend?
I don't want to say her name.
Okay.
So, we have a long history.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we'll leave it there.
Yes, please.
But shout out to her.
Yeah.
shout out to her.
So I'm just like, yo, this is shit that I've only ever seen on blogs.
Yeah.
Like the life that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
This woman, me being here, like, and she lived in Neuilly, which is like the Beverly Hills of Paris.
Yep.
So it's just like, I go from literally Chicago, living that life there, to
living in Paris.
Now I'm actually living it as a semi-adult that just happened off of a fluke. Mm-hmm. So we go, she shows me around the whole deal, and then it's time for me to go back. And she didn't want me to go back. So she called in to work and was like, I got sick. Because she's a nurse. Mm-hmm. And was like, I got sick. So we had to extend my trip. So now I'm like, this woman just extended my trip like a G. Mm-hmm. So then I'm like, all right, cool. So night, like 4, then it's like you start to look at each other a little different. Mm-hmm. And then fucking caught the bug, and then I was just like, yo, nigga ain't going back. So I finally got on the plane and went back home, cheesing the whole flight.
You on cloud 9.
Literally.
Yeah.
And I get back, and it was like in the videos or in the skits. Mm-hmm. You walk in the office, nothing fucking looks the same.
Right.
Who are these peasants?
Yeah.
So I go, I'm like, I don't even remember what it was that triggered me. I was just like, it's like, I'm out this bitch.
No.
So I walked right to my boss, and I was like, yo, dog, I'm quitting. Mm-hmm. He was like, go talk to the they got the regional, and then the regional. I still don't understand all that shit. You need one person. So I go talk to him, and my mentor, because when you come in, they assign you to a OG who's been there, who has like 2 accounts, makes X amount a year. So he was like, go talk to your mentor, Josh Sedler. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Josh. So I went and told Josh what just happened.
Yeah.
And mind you, these like old cats with kids, old white dudes with kids.
Yeah.
So they're like, man, I wish I was living that.
Right.
So he was like, he broke it down. He's like, Facebook had offered him a job, but he would have had to take a pay cut. Mm-hmm. And his family was accustomed to obviously living the life that they have.
Yep.
So he just couldn't make that adjustment. Mm-hmm. But he was like, if he could have gone back, he would have made so much more money. Mm-hmm. So he was like, if you have an opportunity like the one that you have, you take it and you don't look back.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was already thinking that.
Yeah.
But the fact that you just told me,
I feel even better.
Walked right back to my boss and said, you shouldn't have told me to go talk to Josh because I'm out. And I literally went home. I don't even know what I was thinking. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, I know I need to get back to this woman, right? So it was a period of, I think it was LA first. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was LA first. So I came, quit. Then it was, all right, I got to see you again. She loved L.A.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, C.J. Parker.
Yep.
So I'm like, yo, this shit is falling into place.
Yep.
So I'm like, bet, let's go to L.A.
Yep.
And that's just how I've always lived. It's wake up one day, meet me in L.A. tomorrow.
Yep.
Bet, cool.
Yep.
See you tomorrow. Just book the ticket, hop on the plane, and go.
Right.
So we get to L.A., and then I remember being in the taxi. It's so weird. I've never talked about this to anybody, but getting a taxi, and it was just like, it was in a stronger feeling, you know? It was like intensified, and I'm just like looking at her, and I'm like, shit, we were just in Paris like a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're in L.A.,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I got a grip of bread in the bank because, again, I was crushing. So I'm like, I'm not tripping. I still had the brand.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. Blew my mind, that trip. It's a combination of L.A. plus this woman.
Yep.
So now I'm like, oh, shit. Comes time to leave. I'm getting emotional, the whole deal. I'm like, I don't even get emotional.
Right.
So she goes back to the crib. I go back to my flight, and I'm just like, yo.
You don't want this feeling to end.
Right. But she's established with her career.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, well, technically I can fucking...
Move around.
Right. And with fashion, it's like, I knew I wanted to do cut and sew at the highest level.
Yep.
So it's just like, this path is here.
Yep.
It cannot be more clear than it is now.
What you need to do. Yeah.
So this is where it was crazy. She probably...
Oh, this is where it gets crazy.
Yeah, this is where it gets crazy. That shit is normal. So it was like
7 minutes.
Dog,
Have been
I'm
totally
telling you,
normal.
and this is only legit like 3 months of my life that year. So she probably loves and hates me to this day for this, because I came and just blew the whole shit up. Yeah, that's how we do it. But so I just packed all my shit and I just got on the plane. I didn't tell her I was coming. I literally packed everything I had, 2 suitcases. Hopped on a plane, and I kept texting her. She's just like, yo, you going to work today? You know. So I got to the house before she left for work. And I put my hand on the little fucking camera.
People, yes, you can see it.
And I buzzed it. So I was like, something. And then she came down. I was like, package or some shit. So she comes down. She got the bathrobe on. One side of her hair is straightened. The other side is in a bun. And the look on her face when she stepped out of the elevator, priceless.
Yeah.
And she was just like...
The fuck are you doing here?
Right. Probably, yes. She's probably me. I hope you got a return flight. Yeah. And then it was just like... It wasn't awkward in that moment. Now, I would never do that to someone. If someone did that to me, I'd go back home. But because it happened like that, it was just like, this is supposed to work. And then that was a wild year.
So you get there. Yeah. You're living in Paris.
Yes. I didn't even have a cell phone, mind you. Didn't speak French at all.
See.
I had business cards. This is the level of fucking slick shit we were on back then. I had white 32-point card stock. My friends always make fun of me like American Psycho when he goes crazy about the card.
Yeah.
So I had this, like, it was a natural white. And in France, there are these old shops that still letterpress. So I was like, yo, what's the flyest shit I could do? So I took that card and I blind debossed just my email. But my email was the first letter of my name at Al Quran. So,
which was the brand.
Yes.
Yeah.
I give that card whenever I meet somebody. And just the look on their face. It's one, they have to go like this to see what it says. And then they feel it and it's just like, this is not normal.
Yeah.
And that's how I would leave everybody. So if you wanted me, you email me. That's how I got down.
So you're moving through Paris, and the same way you've been moving throughout your entire life? Like you just
Paris was tough though. It was like 3 months before I even found a spot that would work with me.
Okay. And so what was that process like for you in
hundreds of emails a day.
Okay.
Literally falling asleep with the laptop in my lap, hands on the keyboard. Because she would work the midnight shift.
Gotcha.
So I'm at the crib at night just researching every site. No way to check if they're valid or not, if they're up to date.
Yep.
Just emailing. I couldn't call anybody. We had a house phone, but it's like, I don't even know how to dial out.
Right.
So I could only send emails, and I would have to send 2 emails. I would send one in English, one in French.
Got it.
And get an email, have to translate it, and then respond, same situation. Like legit hundreds of emails.
So when you crack through,
Yep.
you get someone to work with you. Where is that, and what does that look like?
It was a studio in Sentier.
Okay.
And it was a woman who had a shop. And her shop sold... Okay, it's funny now, but think like if you go downtown LA into like, what's the Santee Alley?
Yep.
Like that level of clothing.
Okay.
But French, so it's very well made.
Yeah.
But like for prostitutes, because that's
Gotcha.
what the area is now.
Gotcha.
It used to be the fashion district, but then when they moved everything outside of France or outside of Paris into like the outskirts of the country, it just became like
For prostitution,
those little
drugs.
random ass shops
Yeah.
where it's like, how do you make money?
Yeah.
So it was one of those situations, but they had a pattern maker, a seamstress, all in the same spot. So that's the hardest part to find. Like one spot that has all of those that can teach you.
Everything. Yep.
So she was like, yeah, I'll teach you. Her name was Shirley. And then she had a younger woman, I believe her name was like Vivian. And she spoke very good English. So it was like we had that college-like relationship.
Yep.
And I would just get on the train every single day, walk to the train, take the metro, get off, walk to the shop, and just stay until dark.
Yeah.
And then come back home. Because at that point, we were starting to actually create stuff.
Yep.
So now it's all of these months of just content I had on my computer. Just waiting to find somebody that could make it. And I finally found somebody that could do it. And then it was just like a wave of make all of this shit. And they were making it as fast as I was coming up with it. And the quality was like, I don't know how to describe the feeling of when you say to yourself, because I would always say my product has to sit in Barney's or Colette next to the big dogs.
Yep.
And if someone picks my shit up and picks their stuff up, they should more or less not be able to tell the difference.
Right.
So when I got to that point, the very first try, it was like a kid in the candy store.
Yeah.
It's like now I can make anything I think of and don't have to worry about the execution.
So you get what you're looking for from I'll call it from a manufacturing standpoint, right? So the quality and the execution is meeting the concept. How are you moving this product? Is it all online, or so everything is going out online?
Strictly.
So how does that then transition for you over the next couple months into the year? Like what's the development of the brand? Like where's the brand headed? What are you trying to do next? Are you comfortable? Or are you just saying, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna live my life in Paris. I'm gonna have this online shop where I'm making good quality stuff. I'm in this fun relationship that I'm enjoying. Like this is my life. Or is it like you're thinking about your next move?
At that point, it was, again, you don't have time to stop and think.
Right.
You're just going because it's happening so fast. Taking fucking trips, day trips, weekend trips to Rome. Like, just wild shit you've only seen in movies.
Right.
While producing. My first 5 drops, because I didn't know you were supposed to time collections. I was banging shit out, and as I thought of it, I'm releasing.
Yeah.
So, Complex, shout out to Matt Henson, every collection was making the top 10 posts, like the top 10 brands every single time.
Gotcha.
So this is how I popped when I got to Paris. Because Matt would legit, yo, bro, send me whatever you got. Here you go. Here's a lookbook, blah, blah, blah. And I was pushing the fucking boundaries when it came to lookbooks. Because you have to think, it's somebody who was not taught, no background in photography, no idea of how to put a lookbook production together, but I was immersed in that. So it was, okay, I see this billboard, I see this magazine, I like how this looks, I like the composition of this. Finding references. There's a site called book.fr.
Book.fr.
Yeah. I don't know if it's still active, but excuse me. Back then, it was a place where you could go to find models and photographers. It's like just a search. This is like a index. You type in what you're looking for, black, white, whatever, and it'll give you all these people.
Wow.
And their contacts for free.
Wow.
And you just click. But it's no one represented by like an agency. Or if they are, you're still going directly
to the person. Wow.
So that's how I found my photographers and all of the models.
Gotcha.
And then the photographers usually have the locations.
Yeah.
So I was putting together lookbooks, bro, like fucking the big brands. And I was spending 1,200, 1,500 euros total.
Wow.
So when people saw the lookbook plus the quality of the clothing, they all assumed it was a real brand.
Right.
Not that it wasn't, but they like.
But that it was an established, long-standing
French-owned
brand.
Nobody knew it was me behind it except for the culture.
Which is genius.
Always, because I wanted to keep that Margiela vibe. So then it just like took off. That's how it took off.
So it takes off for you. You're at every stop, you're just collecting more skills, more resources, and you have a monster of a brand at this point.
Relatively speaking, yes.
Relatively speaking,
yeah.
But you have a good brand. You have a good brand. What moves you to?
You know, the crazy thing is, I didn't have a single celebrity back then.
Really, not one.
Not one.
Not even like the homies from back.
No.
In Chicago.
No.
So
I had 0 cosigns.
Wow.
Saha, shout out to Saha the Prince. He would repost my shit on Tumblr, on his Tumblr.
Fire. Saha's always been a real one.
Like,
always posted.
That's how far we're going back, where artists had Tumblrs. Yeah. That they would repost.
Well, people don't remember how powerful Tumblr was and how influential. Tumblr is one of the most influential platforms of all time.
Period.
You know, like where artists would debut shit on Tumblr. Like you would see things on Tumblr that you wouldn't see anywhere else. And people don't remember that era, especially I want to say like probably like 09 to probably like 13, 14. Like Tumblr was where you went. You know, I had a Tumblr. It wasn't influential of any sort. It was a blog. But yeah, people would go to Tumblr for all that source of, you know, influence, that source of taste making. And so with you're collecting all these resources. You have a great brand. Where do you move into next? Like, what is the next phase for you after this? At
that point, it was just, how do I continue to elevate the quality of the brand?
Okay.
Because I was going to all the trade shows, so I'm meeting the suppliers for every major fashion house. I'm literally there while they are picking up their materials to walk them 5 blocks to go to the atelier.
Yep.
So now it's like, okay, I have the same resources, the same materials as this brand. So now it only comes down to skill set.
Right.
And design. So it's like, for example, if you make $1 million, you want to make 5. Make 5, you want to make 10. So that's exactly how it was with me. Not in terms of the money, but
the quality in what you were putting out.
If I can make T-shirts and hoodies and sweats with this amount of detail, mind you, we didn't have a reference or baseline back then.
Right.
except for the big brands.
Right.
So it's like, if I can make this just from my mind, and then it looks exactly how I see it, and everyone that sees it are like, this is incredible. Then it's like, okay, now let's push that.
Yep.
Let's go from tees and sweats to fur coats.
Right.
All leather pieces. Like, really push it. And then I started making
really intricate shit.
Leather pants, jackets, women's. Like, I was mixing all the shit. Men's wear, women's wear. I didn't care. Fucking if I thought about it, I made it.
Right.
And then that was the chase.
Gotcha.
Like, how good can you really become?
So you're chasing, you're pretty much just chasing almost the next level of your own greatness, right? Like you're not chasing someone else. You're not patterning yourself after another famous designer.
No, I didn't have anybody.
So you're freestyling, and it's almost back to your drawing style, right? Where you would just see something, you draw it, something that comes out of your mind. So like all of these ideas being up here, eventually transferring to paper, which eventually transferred to cloth and execution, right? So that process for you, I want to talk about a little bit, like your design process. Like we know where it starts, but how does something from your brain, like where it starts, how does that make it to a lookbook, into a runway? Like what's that process? Is it streamlined? Does it work one way? Like, it's here, I draw it, I write it, I put it down. Like, how does that work for you?
So
yeah, your design process.
Yes. Initially, I tried to sketch, but because I needed to be perfect, and because there is so much one can interpret or misinterpret from a sketch, it's not efficient. So I went to, how do I learn how to make like a tech back?
Gotcha.
Like, I could never understand how people make that on a computer. It's just like, it blew my mind how they did it. So it was, you have to learn Illustrator. So I just YouTubed how to learn Illustrator.
Just learn everything on YouTube.
Took me like 7 days. To master a t-shirt. And it was, okay, now I have this down. But I would make such fucking perfect illustrations. Like, every stitch. Where I'm like, yo, it's taking me 30 minutes to do one t-shirt. It's good, but I can't waste 30 minutes when I had to bang out, 20 styles and be here all night. So then it became, all right, we'll do that. That suffice. And then as I progressed, it was more freestyle in terms of, I have it here. And I can describe it. And I can give you like reference images. But I'm not going to draw, I'm not going to sketch, I'm not going to design that piece in digital or physical form.
Got it.
My team in Italy hated that when they first met me because they were like, this motherfucker's crazy. Then it became, if a new person came, just trust the process. We don't know how he thinks of what he thinks. I have one girl, it's too late now, I would definitely call her. This show could be very interesting. Just pick up the phone and start calling motherfuckers. So she'll tell you she was the one who did, it's 5/17. She slipped. It became, when we developed that trust, it's, we don't know how he's going to get to where he's going, but just listen, take notes, and just execute. You don't have to know what you're doing.
Trust the vision.
Just do it.
Trust the vision.
And then I tell you every time it was a fucking hit. And then they see it, and then they see it go. Then they see it on this person go. And they're like, wow. Like, we didn't even know we were making that. But now look at it.
And it comes down to trusting your vision, your process, and your thought. And because you've, like you said, it's up here, right? And so for you, even as you're like spewing it out or like giving direction or telling people what to do, it's all up here. So you're kind of unpacking it out of your head at once. So you guys are going to make it happen, but trust that if you make it happen the way I'm describing it, it's going to be phenomenal. and
it's
gonna
also
work.
like you don't leave a trace.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
you know, because it's like industry is crucial.
Yeah, I was gonna say even with that, with some of your ideas and sketches and how we've seen people's designs get stolen, people's whole collections get stolen and repurposed for a bigger brand. Like we've seen that happen. How have you, besides keeping it up in your head, like what are some ways that you've protected your work?
I don't post full on product shots anymore.
Okay.
Because people used to take my product shots, Photoshop them, and sell the same product.
Wow.
They were probably buying my product, deconstructing.
And
So now I'm synonymous. People always give me shit because I have a very particular eye in terms of how I frame a shot. Everybody will tell you this. But it would be like if this is your frame.
Yep.
Just like maybe 2% of the frame is actual product.
Is the actual product.
And that's how I've shot since my very first brand.
Wow.
So that, they never know. I'll change the color grading on certain shit so people can't pull my denim washes.
Yeah.
Like, these motherfuckers get
Yeah.
very, they go deep.
Yeah. It's the drug game, like you said. It's the drug game.
They will screen grab that photo, enlarge, pinch to zoom, blow that shit up, and go to their factories and be like, yo, take this corner.
Yeah.
Figure it out. We don't know what he did, but
Right.
figure it out.
Figure out what that shit is supposed to be.
And then you'll have a variant of that.
Wow.
So I'm just very mindful. If I don't have a product that's ready to go to market,
Yep.
because before I was who I am and my brands are what they are, I could still have a product be first to market, and then somebody else who had more fucking clout could come, knock it off, and then that shit blow up. And I had to learn not to take that personal because this is the game.
And I think that's the game in every industry, right?
Yeah.
Like that's that's my concern with a lot of my ideas is like, we're in a position where we're original, we're creative, we create things that we know will be impactful, but there may be someone that's either adjacent to us or like around our circle of influence that sees it. And like you said, may have a little bit more clout, may have more resources, like something that I may need, a month to make happen with their resources. They make it happen in a week, and then, and your idea, the integrity of it's gone, it's sold, and then you come out with it, and it looks like you've done a deviation or a variation of their stuff. So that I commend you on just the way that you've been able to move and maneuver. Obviously, you don't get that stuff without experience, right? And speaking of just experience for you, and with brands in general, you've built many different brands. At this point. And, I think one thing about creators, designers, entrepreneurs, everybody in particular, like, sometimes people get stuck or people get kind of like married to their first brand, right? Your first baby, right? You're like, yo, I did this one thing. I did it at a high level. It was my first big accomplishment. What is the mindset for you, or what's the thinking behind when you want to, boom, I want to create another brand. Like something else identifies with something with me. I just want to go create another brand. Not because somebody could look at it and be like, oh, he's just being random. But there's definitely like a method to your madness in how you do it.
Thankfully, people cannot say that about me because every brand that I've made is it.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the fashion space or whether it's my car stuff that I do.
Yep.
It's all hit. Like, in a way where people are like, yo, how in the fuck did he do that?
Yeah.
But they're not questioning how I physically accomplished it.
Right.
But it's just like, man, how did he arrive to
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Right.
It's more so the question.
Right.
But to the point with the brands, my first one was avant-garde. The next one was more like cut and sew, then turned into a commercial giant that it is now with prints and graphics. And I used to be anti-prints and graphics. I never wanted to do that because I knew Virgil, that was his thing. So I never wanted to feel like I was stepping on toes or mimicking.
Right.
So I just had to figure out how to do graphics in my way.
Right.
And then my way became like a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Now everybody tries to run faces and shit
Yep.
on their graphics.
Yep.
So for me, it's when I feel a brand has served its purpose in my life, or I've done all I can with that particular brand or project. I just put that shit out and let it go. Because I'm never short of ideas or concepts.
Right.
And because I have the resources and I have the relationships and the influence with those resources and relationships, not necessarily with culture. Yes, I have that, but more importantly, with the people that can turn my idea into something real and quickly. Then it's like, all right, cool. Let me go start playing in this sandbox. And then I just roll them out. But I'll only roll out a new project once I feel that the other project that I'm working on is self-sustaining.
It's good on its own.
Or I'm done.
Man, you've done it, and I've gotten the pleasure of witnessing you do it literally from the time we met into watching you build another monster. You know, which I mean,
One take hove.
I was there. I was there, so it felt like it happened in like a day. But you know,
like 3 months.
Watching your process, literally from conception to Paris Fashion Week.
We were talking about wall decor for the club.
Yeah, like literally, we were gonna
flyers.
We were gonna dress up Arc, and
Exactly.
and like I remember, you know, just being a part of that, and you know, having a front row seat to your creativity and to your mind, and like the things you're telling me you want to do to just like for the party. I'm like, oh, this dude is different. I was like, you know, like I throw, you know, I throw some big shit. You know, I do it at a level, but I'm like, yo, he's talking about like turning a nightclub into some other shit. And it was like, okay, so if he's talking about this just for the party, like then we're talking about the show and you know, and we haven't even talked about the clothes. So
Yeah,
like
that's not even the clothes.
So we get into the clothes.
These are the peripherals.
The things that people that people are there for, and just to watch you to pull that off, like dog, it was nothing short of amazing to just watch that process. And you know, we talk about real influence, right? And how someone can see you did that show. For those of you who at home who don't know what we're talking about, it's Laundered Works Corp. They did Paris Fashion Week this past January.
If you just type that
of 2020. Google. Yeah, you type Laundered Works Corp, all the articles come up. It was this gentleman right here who was just the mastermind behind all of that. And I want to talk about not really the process of it, but I think what's most important, which we talked about off camera, is just the significance of you, a young black man from Chicago, doing a show for your own brand at Paris Fashion Week. That sentence alone is crazy.
Yes. What's more crazy is that we didn't have any backers.
Which I'll let you talk to. But
in terms of, there were no cosigns from within the industry from the powers that be. Most people didn't even know we were coming.
Right.
I wasn't even on the calendar.
Right. I remember that too.
It was, all right, y'all, I'll go on the calendar, cool. We're just going to show up.
Yeah.
And when we show up, we're going to show up.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest thing for us to secure those venues that we had in such a short time, secure all of the models, like get all of the people on board. But again, that spoke to the strength of my relationships and my connections in that city specifically.
Right.
Because you have to get production teams who do that.
Are on the ground.
Like our girl Debbie, Rick Owens, like June J, like that's her shit. She did my very first show, has seen me progress from my first brand to now. And when we were together, it was just like we were reminiscing, like, man, remember when you barely had a budget to do this? And now you're fucking exclusive by Vogue.
Yep.
And on the cover of all of our magazines, you're the biggest show of the entire week.
Yep. Most talked about show.
So it's like, but again, that's what builds that trust in those relationships. When you say you're going to do something, because this is the thing, a lot of people say they're going to do a lot of shit, but they don't do it.
Right.
Which is why I hate it, because when I am explaining things to people that don't know me,
right,
it comes with that skepticism. And it's like I got to convince and like everybody else that I don't fucking know from Adam.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm telling you what I need so that we can do this.
Yep.
All I need you to do is show up in these key pit stops.
I need you for what I need you for.
That's it.
But this is it. Yep.
I'll do the rest.
Yep.
I'm not asking you to fucking get on a plane, lift a finger.
Yep.
Just be there for this. I'll do the rest. So when I've done that time and time again, I never take terms for suppliers.
Yep.
It's always COD, cash on delivery.
Yep.
Like, I tell you I'm going to do this. I follow up. I make sure you are held accountable.
Yep.
So now you respect that part of the business. And then the actual creative part and the quality of the work then speaks volumes. So their thought process is, how is this coming out of this?
This. Right.
When we're used to seeing that come out of this establishment.
From a house.
Right.
Right.
Hundreds of employees that's been around for decades.
Right.
You have one man
Right.
with his team
Right.
that he put together that are rivaling this $1 million budgets. So that awe is on top of the other things that I've mentioned, and them knowing me, they will go above and beyond whenever I call.
Right. And that's important so you've done this your entire life, right? Where you go guerrilla, you make it happen, you build relationships, you nurture those relationships.
Key.
You deliver time and time again on your word. And that, in a nutshell, to me, is how you've built your craft. And it's an amazing craft. You've mastered what many have tried and failed to do. And on a platform like this, we always while we want to talk through it all, we want to make sure we're giving you your flowers at every pit stop. My brother, you are amazing.
Appreciate it.
This is a great story. We could sit here and talk for another 2 hours about which we have been doing off camera. We'll save that for part 2. But we've talked about your journey and where you sit today. You sit in a good seat. I want you to go back and sit with Chaz in 96, 7-year-old Chaz. And what, from all your experiences, everything that you've been through and gotten to in life, what's one thing that you would share or tell 7-year-old Chaz?
Don't do anything differently.
Don't do a thing differently.
Not a thing.
That's great advice. That's great advice.
That's it.
That's great advice.
Yeah.
Now, you've given me a lot today, man. Thank you. I appreciate you. Good brother. Good brother. It's good to see you. It's good. I feel like I'm just catching up. And, and I know you gave us a lot of jewels, a lot of gems. I know cats who are watching this, even if they're not trying to get into the design space, it's something to learn and something to pull from this. So I thank you for taking the time out, and thank you all for tuning in to Handcrafted, episode 3 with Chaz Jordan. Lastly, we'll just have you tell the people where they can find you on social media. We know you're kind of like a mystery man.
I knew you were going to say that.
You're a mystery man, so tell them how you want them to find you.
I mean, now in public.
They can just follow the brands.
Yeah. I mean, the easiest way to find real life is at Chaz A Jordan on Instagram. And then in my bio, you'll see the brands. So take your pick.
Yep. So at Chaz A Jordan on IG, all his brands are on his bio. Again.
Or you could just OG and Google.
Yeah.
And you really see the stats.
Yeah, because now he's being public facing,
Yeah.
so he's on everything. You can Google him up. When I first tried to Google him, it was nothing there. I felt like I was in a movie, but yeah, he's here, man. And design extraordinaire, true tastemaker, cultural shifter, and a legend, man. And thank you, brother.
Thank you.
It, man. Yes,
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.